The touching conversation I overheard at the airport transformed my life forever. Emily sat in the bustling airport terminal, the cold draft sending shivers down her spine. She was waiting for her delayed flight to California, wrestling with weariness like an old friend. Her 5-year-old son Jake was bouncing around her, eyes wide with the chaotic whirlwind of travelers racing to their gates. But in the midst of the clatter, she caught the tail end of a conversation between two men that threatened to sweep her off her feet. John, the elderly veteran, wore a cap that screamed pride. His weathered hands danced through the air as he spoke, his voice warm like the smell of fresh bread, wafting from the Maplewood Farmers Market every Saturday morning. "It's about serving, son," he said to Mark, the impeccably dressed young businessman whose slick hair and uneasy posture betrayed his internal struggle. "Success ain't just about the money or the titles. It's about purpose, about lifting others as you rise." Emily could hardly breathe. The words wrapped around her heart like a comforting embrace, stirring a hope she had buried beneath the weight of her 2 part-time jobs and the daily exhaustion of being a single mom. Heat rose to her cheeks as she leaned closer, desperate to capture every word. "But what if everyone expects me to succeed in ways I never wanted?" Mark's voice cracked like thunder, the burden of his privilege evident as he wrestled with the failure he kept at bay. She felt a familiar tightness in her chest, a blend of determination and despair. Could she ever bring her vision of a cozy bakery to life without losing everything? Memories of her grandmother's recipes rose in her mind, sweet reminders of love and warmth, and as she watched John's face light up with passion, she felt the flicker of an idea. If they could talk about purpose, so could she. Before she could fully process the weight of this encounter, her phone buzzed, ripping her from the moment. The screen glowed with an all-too-familiar rejection, the denial of her small loan application. An avalanche of uncertainty crashed over her. She wanted to scream. She could almost hear her dreams collapsing like an old brick wall. But John's words echoed in her mind: family, integrity, and purpose. Determination sparked within her, a fierce resolve to not let this setback define her. She would call on her community. They had always rallied behind her. As she began organizing a bake sale, moments of magic unfolded in her kitchen. Flowers scattered like fairy dust, and neighbors were drawn in, offering a liquid kindness that overflowed like batter in a mixing bowl. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next episode.
And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when everything started to look promising, a rival baker threatened to crush her spirit like an overcooked cookie. Emily felt the heat of expectancy rushing over her once more, a tidal wave of doubt. Could she really do this? Did she really have what it takes? The crowd at the bake sale would soon be more than just numbers. They would be her heartbeat, reminding her of the power of community. But could she brave the storm of competition and emerge victorious? As she took a deep breath, hope mixed with anxiety, she pondered, was she ready to embrace her dreams? Would she discover the true essence of her aspirations? Or would it slip through her fingers like grains of sugar in the wind? The day of the bake sale dawned bright and promising, a warm hug from the sun as Emily set up in the park. She glanced around her small table, covered with brightly colored tablecloths and plates piled high with cupcakes, cookies, and her grandmother's famous scones. Each treat was a labor of love, an embodiment of her dreams looking to take flight. Jake was by her side, his tiny hands reaching for a cookie, his eager smile infectious. "Mom, look how many people are here," he cheered. His excitement was electric, a powerful reminder that this was not just about her. It was about building a life they could share. She couldn't help but smile back, her heart swelling with pride and hope. As the morning wore on, familiar faces appeared, friends and neighbors descending to show support. Laughter mingled with the sweet scent of baked goods wafting through the air. Each dollar they spent felt like fuel igniting her ambition. Emily felt the weight of doubt begin to lift. Perhaps this was exactly where she was meant to be. But just as she began to let out a sigh of relief, a shadow fell over her booth. It was Tina, the rival baker from town, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Well, isn't this adorable? A bunch of mediocre muffins trying to steal attention from my world-class pastries." The sting of her words cut deep, and Emily's heart raced. She wanted to retort, to defend her passion, but the determined spark ignited by John's conversation flickered within her. "You know," Emily replied, her voice steady despite the tremor of nerves, "success isn't just about one-upping others. It's about sharing joy and love through what we create." A few heads turned toward her, and she sensed a shift. The crowd wasn't just leaning in to listen, they were feeling it too. Tina scoffed and walked away, but Emily could feel the warmth of support enveloping her like a blanket. With her heart racing, she poured herself into her baking, crafting each item like a piece of herself. Each cupcake was a celebration of resilience. Each cookie was a reminder of dreams. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, a line formed in front of her booth, laughter ringing through the air like music. People munched on treats, their compliments showering over her like confetti. "This is the best cupcake I've ever tasted," someone exclaimed. Emily's heart swelled, her spirit dancing to the rhythm of community love. But just as hope seemed to swell into something monumentally brighter, a figure appeared on the horizon. It was Mark, the businessman she'd overheard at the airport. He looked around, scanning the tables, and his face lit up when he spotted her. He approached, his expression warm yet cautious, as if he were still wrestling with his own doubts. "I'm here to support local businesses," he said awkwardly, his hands in his pockets. I remembered your conversation." Emily blinked, processing the unexpected visit. Could he be someone who genuinely wanted to help? Her heart raced, an enticing mix of excitement and apprehension settling in her stomach. "Thank you. I really appreciate that. Every bit helps," she responded, her voice softer now. Could he see the burning passion in her ambitions, or was he just another well-dressed shadow of doubt? As they talked, something clicked between them, an unspoken connection rooted in vulnerability and shared dreams. But with every passing second, she wondered, was Mark here to provide support, or would he bring a challenge she hadn't anticipated? Emily glanced back at the crowd, her heart pounding with the weight of uncertainty. If she could face Tina, could she also embrace whatever challenge Mark represented? Would opening her heart to both of them be a step toward her dreams, or a risk she could never afford to take? Mark shuffled closer to the table, and his gaze softened when he caught sight of the treats laid out in vibrant colors. He picked up a cupcake, examining it with genuine curiosity. "This looks amazing. Did you really bake all of this?" Emily nodded, a smile creeping onto her lips. "It's all made from scratch. My grandmother used to make scones just like these when I was a kid." His expression shifted to one of admiration, but behind it there seemed to linger a hint of disbelief. "Your passion really shows. It's refreshing to see someone put so much heart into what they do." Pride bubbled in her chest as she observed the growing line of eager customers, each one taking a moment to express their delight over her creations. This was why she had pushed through her doubts and fears. This was why she had faced Tina. Each smile, every compliment, fortified her belief in herself. Mark took a small bite of the cupcake and closed his eyes, savoring the flavor. Wow, this is really incredible. He paused, clearly appreciating the moment. You've got a talent, Emily. This could be more than just a bake sale if you wanted. His words sparkled with possibility, and Emily's heart raced again. What do you mean? Well, I've seen businesses grow from much less than this. With the right support, I'd bet you could turn this passion into something bigger, a bakery or even a cafe, he responded, his gaze steady and inviting. A flicker of excitement ignited within her, but it was quickly shadowed by uncertainty. That's a nice thought, but can I really? I mean, I'm just an ordinary mom trying to make ends meet. You're more than that. People see you. They love what you're doing, he insisted, and the sincerity in his voice sent shivers down her spine. Jake tugged at her skirt. Mom, look, they love your cupcakes. Mark chuckled, kneeling down to Jake's level. He's right. You're building something special here, Emily. Don't ever underestimate the power of your baking. As Mark stood, Emily felt her shoulders lift just a little higher. The kindness in his eyes sparked hope inside her. Still, doubt crept in like a cold breeze. But what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? Failure is just a stepping stone to success. You have to take risks to grow. It's all about finding your way, he said, his voice filled with conviction. Before she could respond, the crowd erupted into laughter, turning Emily's attention away from Mark. It felt warm, like a community that breathed together. But moments later, disappointment crackled in the air when she spotted Tina reappearing, arms crossed defiantly. Wow, Mark, you're really going to stick around this? Tina scoffed, her gaze vicious. I mean, just because you've tasted one good cupcake doesn't mean this is serious business. Emily felt her heart drop, the warmth fading as Tina's sneers wrapped around her like an icy blanket. Mark turned to Emily and held her gaze, the hope shining brightly in his eyes. She's wrong, he said firmly. This is serious, and it's special. You're special. The words swirled in Emily's heart, clashing with the bitterness of Tina's presence. Could she really stand up against her rival while also considering the possibility Mark brought? As the laughter from the crowd faded and tensions thickened, Emily felt a crossroad open before her. Could she dare to dream bigger, to push against the walls of what she knew? In that moment, the bake sale transformed from a simple event into a pivotal turning point in her life. And as she stood facing Tina, breathing deeply with uncertainty and newfound courage, Emily realized it was time to choose. Would she build on this moment or let fear pull her back into her shell? Emily took a breath that felt heavy in her chest, her heart pounding like a drum. She faced Tina, the words still echoing in her mind. You're special. It was hard to hear that kind of affirmation when doubt wrapped around her thoughts so tightly. The laughter of the crowd faded, leaving only the tense silence between her and Tina. You're really not going to let this upstart moment of fame get to your head, are you? Tina sneered, tilting her chin up in blatant arrogance. With her hands clutching the edge of the table, Emily felt the firm surface beneath her. It had been a while since she'd felt this kind of grounding. Just that morning, she'd stood in her kitchen, mixing batter and baking her heart out. Now, everything had changed. Actually, Tina, I think I will, Emily said, startling herself with her own assertiveness. The words tumbled out as confidently as if she'd practiced them 1,000 times. I'm tired of being pushed around by you. This is my passion, and it matters. Mark's eyes danced with pride, and her son Jake beamed at her as if she had just performed the greatest feat in the world. Emily could feel the warmth of their support flooding back into her, igniting a spark of courage. Tina rolled her eyes, her expression dripping with condescension. Passions don't pay the bills. You think a few cupcakes are going to change anything? This is all just a childish dream, Emily. Maybe, but it's my dream, Emily replied, her voice steady. Every great bakery starts from someone's passion. I don't want just to sell cupcakes. I want to build something real, something that makes people happy. A ripple of murmur spread through the crowd. Some nodded, others supported her silently. Their eyes, once filled with indifference, were now reflecting hope and strength. She could almost see the invisible threads of a community weaving together. Tina scoffed, but Emily didn't let her affect her anymore. You can choose to tear me down, or you can watch me rise. Either way, I'm not backing down. The clarity felt like a tidal wave within her, pushing her doubts aside. As if sensing the shift in the atmosphere, Mark stepped closer. Emily, what if we talked about next steps? You have something here, and we can build on it. The thought of discussing plans made Emily's heart soar. Really? You'd help? Absolutely, he replied, his voice encouraging and sincere. You have the passion, I can help with the business side of it. We can strategize, find a location, and market your amazing treats. Before she could say anything, she noticed Jake running to the front of the table, his eyes wide with excitement. Can we have a bakery, Mom? Can we have cookies and scones and all sorts of cakes? She looked down at her son, who radiated pure joy, and it struck her that this wasn't just about her. It was about them as a family, too. Yeah, buddy, I think we can, she said, feeling her heart swell. Just then, a spontaneous round of applause broke out in the crowd. Everyone seemed to be caught in the brightness of the moment, and for the first time in a long time, Emily felt beyond fear. But as she savored that fleeting sweetness, another wave of reality tumbled in. What would it mean to take that leap? The future seemed lined with promise, but the air still crackled with uncertainty. Would she truly embrace this journey into the unknown, or would she allow her insecurities to creep back in? In that charged moment, the possibilities lay wide open before her, but could she find the strength to pursue them? Emily's gaze drifted to Tina, who looked less menacing but still formidable. Their confrontation was far from over. Emily's heart raced as she locked eyes with Tina again, a strange mix of defiance and vulnerability stirring inside her. She was finally learning to stand for herself, but what came next? This was just the beginning, and the world felt both thrilling and terrifying. Let's get back to reality, Tina interrupted, her tone icy as she looked around at the supportive crowd. You really think this is going to go anywhere? You're just a stay-at-home mom playing pretend. The sentiment sunk in like a stone. For a split second, doubt rippled through Emily. But Jake's hopeful face flashed in her mind. A smile broke through the doubt and the warmth surged back. No, Tina, she said, shaking her head firmly. This is not pretend. It's a step forward. As the crowd buzzed, Mark leaned in closer. Don't let her words shake you. Every successful person faces negativity. It's how you respond to it that counts. His unwavering faith in her rekindled a fire she hadn't realized was flickering. Emily nodded, feeling bigger than she had moments before. I appreciate that, Mark, but this isn't just about facing Tina. It's about believing I can create something worthwhile. Then let's make it worthwhile, Mark smiled, his optimism contagious. We'll set up pop-up events, offer tasting nights. Let's experiment and get feedback from the community. Her mind raced with possibilities. Pop-up shops, community events. Each vision she held brought her closer to her goal. But the thought of putting herself out there terrified her. What if it all falls apart? What if I'm not enough? You're more than enough, Jake shouted, his little voice ringing with confidence. You can do it, Mom! See, Mark added, a grin spreading across his face. You have all the motivation right here. Emily's heart swelled. The crowd erupted into more applause, and this time she smiled back. For the first time, she felt she might actually belong here, in this moment, not just as an overprotected widow, but as a woman with dreams and plans. Tina remained silent, her eyes dark and unfocused. Maybe she'd miscalculated. As Emily basked in the support, she vowed to keep her head high and her heart open, regardless of Tina's malice. She turned her back to Tina, facing the crowd and her newfound possibilities. "Let's do this," she exclaimed, feeling the energy pulse through the room.
A wave of applause washed over her, and she closed her eyes for a moment, letting the joy encircle her. But just as the high began to swell, a shadow lingered at the edge of her mind. What if pursuing her passion opened up even more challenges? What if the attempts to build her bakery meant risking her comfort zone even further? As she opened her eyes, the questions felt heavy again. Emily took a deep breath, braced by the warmth of her family and community. Yet one thought would not let go. Would she still hold strong through the inevitable struggles? The moment began to feel fragile, and she glanced back at Tina. The challenge wasn't over. Emily knew she had to confront this head-on, not just to triumph over Tina, but to embrace all the risks involved in turning her dreams into reality. In that moment, she felt a surge of determination. What would be her first step? Despite the fear, she took a firm step forward. But just then, the clanging of a bell echoed through the hall, signaling the arrival of unexpected guests. Emily's heart skipped a beat as the bell rang out, a jarring sound that sliced through the warm atmosphere. Her eyes darted toward the entrance, where a small crowd began to cluster. She could feel the buzz of curiosity ripple through the people by her side. It was as if the whole hall had shifted, transforming from a safe haven of support to a stage set for unforeseen drama. From behind the barrier of curious heads, she noticed a mother and her 2 children step forward. A momentary hush enveloped the room, the applause fading to whispers of speculation. Emily squinted, trying to catch a glimpse of their faces, but the lighting made it hard to see clearly. Who were they? What were they doing here? "Is that who I think it is?" Mark whispered, nudging her shoulder, his voice just loud enough for her to hear over the murmurs. Before Emily could respond, the children broke into wide, thrilled smiles, tearing off toward the snack table, leaving the mother standing still, a look of determination on her face. It was an expression Emily recognized well. It was a combination of hope and anxiety, just like the one she felt moments before speaking up against Tina. The mother, Nina, she knew now, having seen her around town, guide her children with a firm yet gentle hand. Then Nina's eyes locked onto Emily, a flicker of recognition crossing her features. She took a step forward, glancing around the hall as if gauging the crowd's intrigue before finally approaching Emily. "Hi, I'm Nina," she introduced herself, a nervous smile playing on her lips. "I heard something about a bakery. I couldn't help but be curious." Emily returned the smile, warmth flooding her chest. "That's right. I'm just starting out, trying to gather the community's support." Nina's gaze lit up, and for a moment, Emily was caught in an invisible current of shared ambition and dreams that transcended their differences. "I love that. My kids have been begging for fresh baked goods. It would be amazing to have something like that in town." The excitement swirled as they exchanged ideas about flavors, local ingredients, and community engagement. Emily felt the weight of fear lifting, replaced by a sense of possibility as Nina shared stories of her own struggles and triumphs. Each word felt like a validation of her vision. The fear of failure struck a softer note beneath the melody of encouragement. Just as Emily grew bolder, open to discussing collaborations or community efforts, a voice cut through the conversation, harsh and stubborn. "You're not seriously considering this, are you?"
It was Tina again, her presence looming ominously like a cloud over a sunny day. Nina turned, confusion flashing across her face as she processed Tina's dismissive tone. "Excuse me?" "Just some random stay-at-home mom pretending to be a baker. It's cute, really," Tina scoffed, folding her arms defensively. Nina straightened, her tone shifting to something more resolute. "Well, I think it's brave. If you've got dreams, you should definitely follow them. It's what we all need to do." A spark ignited within Emily. She had fought her own battles, and now, standing with Nina, those flames of courage began to merge. It was no longer just about her fight against Tina. It was a community of voices rising up together, each one inspired to support the other. Just as tension thickened in the air, another shadow fell over the group. To Emily's dismay, it included not just Tina, but several of her followers, whispering judgments that echoed through the crowd like an ominous wind. Tension transformed the atmosphere, the warmth of solidarity fracturing in real time. Let's show them what we're made of, Emily thought, feeling a surge of boldness. But as she opened her mouth to speak, she was suddenly distracted by a commotion at the entrance. A figure slipped in through the doors, shadowy and familiar. Emily's heart plummeted, caught between hope and dread. Who was it? The moment hung heavy, charged with possibilities and uncertainty. Emily held her breath, fighting the pull of panic that threatened to drown her. The figure was now stepping fully into the light, revealing a face she knew well. Tom, her estranged brother. A flood of emotions surged through her. Surprise, anger, confusion, joy. She hadn't seen him in years. This wasn't how she had imagined their reunion. Tom looked out of place, his eyes scanning the crowd as if he were searching for someone or something. When they finally landed on Emily, something shifted in the air. Her heart thudded in her chest. What was he doing here? Would he disrupt this fragile moment of solidarity that she had finally started to feel? Tina rolled her eyes, her group of followers snickering softly. "Great, now it's a family reunion," she huffed sarcastically, folding her arms tighter. Ignoring her, Emily took a hesitant step forward. "Tom?" she called, her voice wavering slightly. The room seemed to shrink around them, as if all eyes glued onto the pending confrontation. He approached, a blend of hesitance and relief washing over his features, creating a poignant clash of familiarity and distance. "Emily, he began, but his voice trailed off. Emotions flickered in his eyes like hidden storm clouds ready to burst. Mina looked back and forth between the siblings, confusion etched on her face. "Do you two know each other?" "Yeah, we're, family," Emily managed, her throat thick. She could feel the weight of the room. How could she explain years of heartbreak and unresolved issues in a single breath? Before she could continue, Tom stepped closer to her. "I'm sorry for crashing in like this," he said softly, his gaze dropping for a moment before lifting back to hers. "I saw the flyers for your bakery." His voice faltered. Emily's heart raced. "You saw them? You've been keeping up?" Tom nodded, rubbing the back of his neck nervously. "I heard you were finally going for it. I wanted to say I'm proud of you, Em. You've always been the brave one." The sincerity in his voice caught her off guard. Bits and pieces of their broken past emerged, conversations unhad, support unsaid. Tears stung at the corners of her eyes. "And I thought you didn't care," she replied, her voice a whisper. "I didn't handle things well," he admitted, shoulder slumping. "I was scared, I guess, and ran away from everything I should have faced. But seeing you here, starting this new chapter, it's inspiring." Suddenly, turbulent waves of feeling surged in Emily. His presence stirred the pot of what could be a joyful reunion, yet here they were, standing in front of an audience that judged them both. The crowd's whispers faded into the backdrop as urgency pulsed through her veins. Nina, sensing the weight of the moment, added, "You know, I'm sure everyone here understands the challenges of family. Nobody has it all figured out. But look, Emily is here, boldly going after her dreams." Tina's laughter rang cold, slicing through the warmth of Nina's support. What a touching reunion, so sweet. But in reality, she's just as lost as she is brave. What makes either of you think you can actually pull this off? Tom flinched at Tina's comments, but Emily felt a new determination ignite deep within. She turned to him, the world around them fading. "We can pull this off, together," she asserted, feeling his presence bolster her confidence. The tension in the hall resumed its choking grip, mixed with anticipation and doubt. In that instant, the siblings were no longer just a past shadow. They were a potential team thriving in the face of adversity. But just then, the door swung open again, and a shout echoed from the entrance, demanding everyone's attention. What now? The shadows of their past loomed, but Emily couldn't help but hope that the dawning of a new was just around the corner, beckoning her to step forward. What awaited her beyond the door? Emily turned sharply at the sound, her heart racing. The mood in the hall shifted as a tall figure strode in confidently, a crumpled piece of paper in hand. His voice boomed, cutting through the tension like a knife. "I have an announcement." Everything around Emily blurred, her focus narrowing to the man now standing in the spotlight. She didn't recognize him, but the air of urgency was palpable. Fear spiraled in her mind. What if this was bad news? What if it threatened the fragile moment she was just starting to piece back together with Tom? "Is this about the bakery?" Tom murmured, his expression wary. Emily could feel the weight of his concern. The newcomer cleared his throat, holding up the paper triumphantly. "I just got off the phone with the city council. The bakery licenses are being approved as we speak. Emily, you're officially cleared to open. This is a big win for the community." Gasps echoed through the crowd, followed by a burst of applause. Emily blinked, trying to absorb what she'd just heard. It felt surreal. The dream she had fought for, the blood, sweat, and tears she poured into those bakery plans. It was happening. Yet the applause felt distant as she turned to face Tom again. "I can't believe this. It's real, right?" Her voice trembled with both excitement and disbelief. She wanted to leap with joy, but a part of her clutched her heart, tinged with doubt. "Yes, it's real," Tom replied, with a warm smile slowly blooming on his face. Just moments ago, they were standing on shaky ground, but now the connection fusing them felt forged anew in this moment of celebration. Nina jumped in, cheering. "This is amazing, Emily. You're doing it. You're actually making your dreams come true." But as everyone joined in the festive cheers, Emily found herself wrestling with the sudden weight of new expectations. The applause surrounded her, drowning her initial moment with Tom. "What will this mean for us, Tom?" She felt the words slip out before she could hold them back. Tom hesitated, his eyes flickering with memories that danced just out of reach. "It means we have a chance to start over, together, but it won't be easy." Just as his reassurance washed over her, the door swung open yet again, this time revealing an older woman, breathless and wild-eyed. "Is Emily here?" she called, searching the room with an urgency that sent chills down Emily's spine. "Yes, I'm here." Emily stepped forward, confusion washing over her. "Who are you?" The woman, recognizing Emily, rushed to her. "I'm sorry for interrupting. I overheard something, and I think you might want to know." Time stilled for a heartbeat, and all noise faded. Emily could feel the intensity of the room shift once again. What had this woman overheard? Whatever it was, it seemed to weigh heavily on her shoulders. and now on Emily's heart. "Please, what is it?" Emily implored, feeling another swell of panic rise within her. The woman took a deep breath, her voice trembling as she spoke. "I overheard a conversation at the airport. Someone's been talking about your bakery, and it's not just business, it's personal." Tom's eyes widened, and all the newfound joy within Emily felt like it might slip from her grasp. What could be so personal that it would impact everything she'd just started to believe in? The air crackled with anticipation and dread. "Who?" was all Emily could manage to ask, her heart racing as the woman took another breath, her next words carrying the weight of an unknown future. "This person, they know you and your past, Emily, and they're coming, whether you're ready or not." The ground beneath her suddenly felt much less stable. What was waiting for her around the corner now? Emily's heart dropped as the woman's words lingered in the air like a heavy fog, wrapping around her mind. She felt as if a spotlight had turned on inside her, illuminating a past she thought she had left behind. "Who are they?" she managed to whisper, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and confusion. Tom's grip on her arm tightened as worry etched itself into his features. It's someone from your old life," the woman struggled to find the words. "They mentioned your bakery, and I just thought you should know." The applause faded from the background, leaving an eerie silence. Memories flashed through Emily's mind, faces, names, the pain of loss. She had fought hard to create a new life here, to forget the shadows lurking behind her. And now, just as everything seemed to be aligning, they were haunting her again. "You have to tell me who it is," she urged, desperation creeping into her words. The woman hesitated, glancing around the room as if the walls themselves might overhear her. "I can't say. I'm sorry. I just heard snippets of a conversation. But I know there's fear behind it, fear of what they might do." Tension coiled in Emily's chest like a tightly wound spring. The emotions whirled within her, confusion, fear, and a flicker of anger. Why now? Why after all this time? "Let's go talk outside," Tom said, his voice steady and calm. He led Emily away from the crowd, the murmurs and excitement fading as the doors closed behind them. Once outside, Emily felt the cool air wash over her skin. The evening sky was streaked with hues of pink and orange, a stunning contrast to the storm brewing within her. "Who could it be?" she asked, almost to herself, as she paced back and forth. As Tom watched her, concern filled his eyes. "Emily, whatever is going on, you're not alone in this. We'll face it together, but you need to share what you're feeling." "I just don't want the past to catch up with me," she admitted, her voice fragile. "I finally found a place where I feel safe and happy. I can't lose that." Tom stepped closer, his presence anchoring her spiraling thoughts. "You won't lose it, but you need to confront it. It might be scary, but sometimes facing our fears is the only way to fully move forward." His words made sense, but they also felt like a tightrope strung high above a chasm of uncertainty. Suddenly, the door swung open again, and the older woman reappeared, her expression grave. "I don't want to frighten you, Emily, but I think you need to prepare yourself. This person, they've been through a lot too, and they might just want to talk." A wave of uncertainty washed over Emily. Would that conversation bring closure, or just more chaos? Did she have the courage to meet the ghosts from her past head-on? She took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of strength within her. "If they want to talk, then I'll talk. I can't hide anymore." Tom nodded, admiration flickering in his eyes. But the doubt gnawed at her. What if this encounter brought everything crashing down? The deeper question lingered, pressing on her mind like a weight. Could she truly open herself up again, knowing that she might be putting everything at risk? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows around them, Emily couldn't shake the feeling something monumental was coming. A confrontation was on the horizon, and it could either be her salvation or her undoing. "What happens next?" Emily whispered to Tom, her heart racing with uncertainty as they both gazed into the fading light. "Whatever it is, we'll find out together," he assured her, but she sensed the worry in his voice. A figure appeared in the distance, and Emily felt her stomach clench. Who was coming for her now? The night wouldn't rest until the truth came to light. Her heart pounded in her chest as she took a step back, instinctively reaching for Tom's hand. The shadows of the past loomed closer, creeping into her present like a thick fog. The figure approaching from the distance grew clearer, and dread spilled over her like ice water. As the mysterious person drew near, recognition surged through Emily. It was her former mentor, Carol, the very woman who once encouraged her dreams and who had left without a word years ago. A mix of betrayal and relief washed over her. Carol had witnessed her struggles and had inspired her baking journey. But why was she here now? "Emily," Carol called, her voice shaking as she approached. "I've been looking for you." "Why?" Emily shot back, uncertainty twisting her gut. "You left without a word. You vanished when I needed you most." Carol's eyes glistened with tears. "I know. I'm sorry, truly. I was trying to protect you from the mess I created. I was in over my head and scared, but I've been following your journey." "I wanted to reach out sooner. You wanted to what?" Emily interrupted, anger bubbling under the surface. "You want to act as if you're showing up like this is a reunion when you left me to fend for myself?" Tom stepped between them, sensing the tension, but Emily felt the anger coursing through her veins. The darkness of betrayal had left marks deeper than expected. "Emily, let her talk," Tom urged gently. His gentle voice was a grounding force. Taking a deep breath, Emily steadied herself. "Fine, talk." Carol's eyes were earnest, filled with regret. "I know I broke that bond, and I regret not being there for you. I was wrong." As she spoke, Emily's anger began to wane, replaced by a flood of questions. "But why now? Why come back when my dreams are finally taking shape?" "Because I believe in what you're doing. I've seen your growth, and I'm proud of you," Carol said, her voice gaining strength. "I want to help." "Help?" Emily echoed, skepticism in her tone. "After all this time? Why should I trust you?" "Because I've been given a second chance to do better. I've gone through my struggles, and I want to help you avoid the mistakes I made," Carol replied, her sincerity cutting through the tension. Emily felt the walls she had built around her heart beginning to shake. She remembered her love for baking, the warmth, the joy, the community that surrounded her now. She had come so far, but was she really ready to let someone back in? As if reading her mind, Tom gently added, "You're stronger now, Em. You have a community. If you want this chapter of your life to include Carol, you have the strength to set boundaries and make it work." Emily's chest tightened, but there was a flicker of hope, flickering like candlelight in the shadows of her past. The atmosphere around them buzzed with emotion, and the crowd remained silent, observing intently. "What do you really bring to the table?" Emily challenged, searching Carol's face for answers. "I want to help you launch your bakery. I have connections that can assist you in ways I couldn't provide before. Your treats have that love factor that is vital in this business," Carol stated, her sincerity shining through. For the first time, Emily recognized a glimmer of possibility in this tumultuous moment. She could build the bakery she had dreamed of with the lessons from her past pushing her forward. "What happens with Tina then?" Emily asked, the rival baker still looming large in her mind. "Let's focus on your success first. We'll build a marketing plan, create a name people will remember, whatever it takes to support you," Carol replied, her gaze unwavering. Emily felt a mixture of apprehension and excitement. Still, uncertainty lingered at the edges. Would this collaboration enhance her dreams or complicate them? Tom squeezed her hand gently, offering strength. Whatever you choose, I'm on your side. Emily gazed at Carol,
her heart banging in her chest. She wanted to say no, never to the pain of betrayal, but perhaps this was a chance for redemption, a way to open a door she thought was long closed. All right, she said finally, taking a deep breath. I'm willing to give this a shot, but on my terms. An explosion of applause rang out from the crowd, revitalizing the moment. It was as if they were together, breathing in the air of possibility. Emily felt free for the first time in ages. Now, Tom grinned, let's start this journey the right way. Carol nodded earnestly, relief washing over her features. The darkness began to dissipate, and Emily dared to envision the future. Laughter bubbled in the crowd. They were witnessing something new and raw inside of her. Not just strength and persistence, but also the courage to face her past while embracing her future. As sweet scents enveloped them and voices filled the air with encouraging laughter, Emily felt transformations emerging all around her. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but with her community, her son, and the chance for a new chapter, she was ready to take that leap into the unknown. Let's build something beautiful, she declared to the crowd, their faces reminding her she wasn't alone. And together, they would face whatever came next, one cupcake at a time. Now, the moment of genuine transformation had arrived, shining brightly in the fading light. Emily's bakery wasn't just a dream anymore. It was a beacon of hope for her community, and perhaps for others like them who chose to turn the page. As the sun set behind the beautiful horizon, she held her head high, heart open, and ready to embrace every challenge that awaited them, because she had learned one essential truth. True dreams are built on the foundations of love, support, and the daring to rise against the odds. This is it. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and help others discover this journey. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second, to share. Every moment counts.